Universitas Tunas Pembangunan atau sering disebut UTP merupakan salah satu perguruan tinggi swasta favorit di wilayah Jawa Tengah, khususnya di Surakarta. Kampus yang didirikan oleh ex-tentara pelajar Brigadir 17 pada tanggal 17 Juli tahun 1980 ini beralamat di Jalan Balai Kambang Lor nomor 1 Surakarta. Untuk mewujudkan visi menjadi universitas riset dan entrepreneurial yang unggul dijiwai patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian, Universitas Tunas Pembangunan atau UTP memiliki beberapa misi, di antaranya mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan pendidikan unggul untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang memiliki karakter patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian. Mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan penelitian yang unggul berorientasi pada inovasi, sumber daya lokal, dan daya saing. Mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan pengabdian kepada masyarakat untuk berpartisipasi dalam memecahkan permasalahan bangsa. Membangun kelembagaan UTP yang kuat, kredibel, dan akuntabel.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Saya Tresna Priyana Sumardi, Rektor Universitas Tunas Pembangunan Surakarta. Secara alamiah, Universitas Tunas Pembangunan dengan nilai-nilai triciri tadi berkembang menjadi kampus juara. Para mahasiswa memenangkan event-event kejuaraan kemahasiswaan baik nasional maupun internasional. Atas dasar itu pula, pembangunan karakter di UTP adalah dengan mendorong mahasiswa aktif mengikuti kompetisi, olahraga, dan non-olahraga. Hampir setiap bulan berita mahasiswa UTP menjadi juara dalam berbagai event olahraga, dalam media massa dan elektronik, juga non-olahraga seperti mahasiswa Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis menjadi juara pertama dalam kebijakan publik Ombudsman Republik Indonesia. Fakultas Teknik menjadi juara dalam rekayasa beton. UTP menapaki masa depan. Di tahun 2022, kita menargetkan menjadi 6 fakultas, 24 prodi, 5.000 mahasiswa, dan 250 dosen. Universitas Tunas Pembangunan berusaha sekuat tenaga menjadi universitas swasta yang unggul di Indonesia dan di antara negara-negara ASEAN.
Universitas Tunas Pembangunan memiliki 4 fakultas, terdiri dari 10 program studi S1 serta 1 program pasca sarjana S2. Ke-10 prodi tersebut adalah prodi arsitektur dan prodi teknik sipil di Fakultas Teknik, agroteknologi dan agribisnis di Fakultas Pertanian, prodi manajemen dan akuntansi di Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis, serta prodi bimbingan konseling, pendidikan kepelatihan olahraga, pendidikan guru sekolah dasar, dan pendidikan jasmani, kesehatan, dan rekreasi di Fakultas KIP. Sedangkan untuk prodi pendidikan olahraga berada di program pasca sarjana S2. Keseluruhan prodi yang ada di UTP Surakarta telah terakreditasi B dari BAN PT. Berbagai macam prestasi dan keunggulan telah diraih oleh universitas ini di berbagai bidang. Ini dibuktikan dalam 3 tahun terakhir, mahasiswa UTP telah mendapatkan 100 penghargaan kompetisi berbagai bidang di tingkat nasional dan internasional. UTP juga memiliki program unggulan di masing-masing fakultas, di antaranya prestasi atlet nasional dan internasional, serta modifikasi olahraga dan olahraga rekreasi atau tourism sport di Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan. Pertanian organik, bisnis pertanian organik dan agrowisata di Fakultas Pertanian, arsitektur kawasan pariwisata dan rancang bangun kawasan pariwisata di Fakultas Teknik, serta ekonomi kewirausahaan di Fakultas Ekonomi. Dalam upaya pengembangan pendidikan ke level internasional, UTP mengadakan program student exchange antar negara. Saat ini, UTP telah mengirim dan menerima mahasiswa dari Thailand dan Filipina. UTP juga mengembangkan unit bisnis dalam menanggapi perkembangan industri, di antaranya dengan merealisasikan adanya teaching industri seperti kolam keceh, urban farming jeruk sawit, dan UTP mineral. Produk UTP mineral merupakan produk air minum mineral yang telah diproduksi dan dikembangkan oleh UTP sendiri. Dengan fasilitas belajar mengajar yang memadai, program kemahasiswaan yang intensif dan didukung dengan teknologi informasi yang unggul, serta ditunjang dengan pengajar yang berkompeten di bidangnya. Hingga UTP berencana membangun gelanggang olahraga dan seni plesungan Gondang Rejo Karanganyar. Universitas Tunas Pembangunan selalu memberikan yang terbaik untuk mahasiswanya. Untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang berkualitas, seluruh sivitas akademis berkomitmen untuk mengembangkan Universitas Tunas Pembangunan menjadi unggul dengan peningkatan mutu akademik dan non-akademik secara berencana dan berkelanjutan untuk menghasilkan lulusan berkarakter patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian.
Selamat siang, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, depending on wherever you are. I would like to express my deepest gratitude for your participation in this international webinar. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Tunas Pembangunan Surakarta, Profesor Dr. Tresna Priana Sumardi, Director of Senior Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, as well as our keynote speaker for today's international webinar, Deputy Director of Program, Mr. Ifputi M.A., also our speaker. He is the Deputy Director Program of SIMIO CECCEP, based in Jakarta. Vice Rectors of UTP Indonesia, Dr. Sabto Priyadi, Dr. Teguh Santoso, and also Insinyur Danarte Karsono, Magister of Engineering. So the honorable other speakers of today's international webinar, Dr. Lodivina Angels from NUFA ACGI University of Science and Technology, Dr. Meljo Apilado and Professor Claudia Berbajulo from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University in the Philippines. My name is Muhammad Ali Yafi, your moderator for today's discussion. I warmly welcome you to the international webinar on distance learning, technology, and digital media in early childhood education. So, ladies and gentlemen, my introduction for today's discussion is that while countries are at different points in their COVID-19 infection rates, so worldwide there are currently more than 1.2 billion children in 186 countries affected by school closures due to the pandemic. This is the data from World Economic Forum in 2020. Since March 2020 as well, students, parents, and teachers in Indonesia have been grappling with an ever more complex situation about the closures of the closures affecting 62.5 million students from primary to higher education. This is also the data from the World Bank. Over the past months, most schools have made an unprecedented shift to home learning, though exactly how they've done it varies with the geographic and socioeconomic diversity across the nation. And in accordance with the online learning, and the use of digital media, I think there are, however, challenges to overcome. Some students without reliable internet access and or technology infrastructure struggle to participate in the digital learning. So that's the gap is seen across countries. For example, is that whilst 95% of students in Switzerland, in Norway, in Austria, have computer to access for their homework, schoolwork, only 35%, this is the data from OECD, only 35% in Indonesia do. So, you know, the gap is really vivid right there. I think this challenge is also faced by Southeast Asian countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about more about this, with our keynote speaker, with our speakers. We are going to talk about the utilization of digital media, which is user-friendly and the best practice from the Philippines universities. And I think how we can do something, how far we can do something with the technology to make the gap between the students and the teacher, the proximity of the teacher and also the students, the proximity between friends can be there, can be done through the digital learning. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite President of UTP, Professor Dr. Tresna Priyana Sumardi, for his opening remarks. I think Professor Tresna is over here right now, is joining us here. Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon.
Yes, the screen is yours, Prof, for the opening remarks, please.
Oke. Suara saya kedengeran ya? My voice is okay?
Yes, that's okay, Prof. Please.
Okay. So we can start. Distinguished guests and Director of Simeo, Dr. Ethel Agnes Pasqua, and all resource speaker, Dr. Mejo Apilado, and Professor Claudia Barbadillo, and Dr. Lodivina Angeles, and Mr. Itz Futi, and then also all participants from Simeo member countries and universities, of course, and all UTP vice rectors, functional directors, dean, study program, student, and all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Wish you all the best. Ya. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam. First of all, we thanks to God give us opportunity and healthy to attend together this webinar with the topic of distance learning, technology and digital media in early childhood education. We know that more than 1 year already, global people facing challenges of life, that is the presence of global pandemic, COVID-19, in our, the only one. My voice is good, Pak Yafi, Pak Ali?
Just go ahead.
Yes, okay. Okay, so we see that many changes in people's life occurred, and even daily habits of society, community. Certainly no exception to the generation of early childhood and elementary school children in this unfinished epidemic period. This is certainly an interesting topic to look at from variety of perspective from today's expert speakers, and this will open our horizons even wider so that we can answer the challenges of digital transformation, which we must do, which will support the successful development of early childhood and elementary school age children. And especially in the how to trigger the curiosity, how to live together, interpersonal interaction, empathy, respect, and so on and so forth. Awareness to the environment are the only one earth, animals, flora, and so on and so forth. Awareness to the health the healthy food and drinks for the growing up, awareness about family interaction, and so on and so forth. I hope this webinar is beneficial for all of us. Therefore, I would like to express my gratitude and high appreciation to all research speakers in this webinar. To Dr. Ethel Agnes for the keynote speech, Dr. Mejo and Dr. Claudia, Dr. Lodivina, and Mr. Futi. And last but not least, also thanks to the head of International Office, Mr. Ali Yaki, and all the committee, and also the role of my Vice Rector for Venture Partnership and Collaboration, Mrs. Darati Karsono, for the support of this webinar. And thus, I declare this webinar open. Thank you for attention.
Professor Tresna, I think your remarks, your welcoming remarks was really warm, and I think it can be the framework for today's discussion. Once again, thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite, we would like to hear the keynote speech from Director of CMU Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela. She is the Director of CMU Secretariat, which serves as the executive arm of the CMU Council of Ministers of Education from 11 member states that make up the CMU. And Dr. Ethel is the 18th director of the CMU Secretariat and the first woman director since its establishment in 1965. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Ethel. She's joining us here. Good afternoon, Dr. Ethel.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ali.
Thank you very much for joining. You would like to present by yourself or we just play to your...
Please, yeah.
Okay. Teman-teman boleh diaktifkan.
Good afternoon to all the participants of this very important webinar on distance learning, technology, and digital media in early childhood care and education, hosted by the Universitas Tunas Pembangunan Surakarta, Indonesia. I am very pleased to welcome you all and to share our initiatives on the theme. A year ago, COVID-19 pandemic has changed the educational landscape globally. 190 countries are on lockdown, 1.5 billion learners all over the world are impacted on school closure. 247 million in our region are attending flexible learning, online, blended learning, e-learning, and home-based learning. Many of them have not moved to face-to-face, and millions of teachers across the globe have had to scramble to help the students navigate the world of distance learning, often without sufficient training, guidance, support, and resources. What happens to early childhood care and education? Due to COVID-19, more families will be impoverished. Many ECE programs may close due to the lesser support for families and communities. Budgets of ministries of education or agencies responsible for early childhood and education may be reduced as funds are transferred to other sectors, especially to the health sector, which are funding for COVID-19 pandemic and vaccines. Funding for ECD may be diverted to more important levels of education even, and the quantity and quality of ECE workforce will therefore be affected. The impact is greater on children already facing challenges of development and early learning. There are children with delays and disabilities. There are children living in poverty. There are children in remote areas and in disadvantaged places. There are also children not fluent in the national language of instruction and are therefore not learning. and so children of refugees and migrant families. Having the aspiration of Southeast Asian ministers of education to work through interregional cooperation and collaboration to make lives better in quality and equity in education, CIMEO has conducted many programs, projects, and activities implemented during this time of pandemic. We have joined the UNESCO Global Education Coalition for COVID-19 to be able to offer free training programs and to get the support of civil society, nonprofit organizations, private sector network and association, and even media partners. We all know that in this decade, we're trying to achieve sustainable development goals. For education, we want to promote equitable, quality education and lifelong learning for everyone. The main objective of CIMEO's vision is to really support inclusive education for everyone when we say all is for all. With that, we have launched several programs to offer distance learning and capacity building for teachers. I would like to share that we have started a global digital literacy, massive open online courses even before the pandemic. CIMEO centers, as well as some open universities, have joined forces to offer massive open online courses for teachers in order for them to understand the global digital literacy context. We also have spearheaded future education and professional development program to address challenges in running an effective teacher professional development session, time, money, engagement, effectiveness, and more. There were also several online lecture series and training programs that we have offered for free. Some of them can still be accessed using YouTube channel. And CIMEO has conducted many online lecture series from the time that there was pandemic in April up to this time. It's almost a year. We also have developed C Creative Camp, an online program for the Southeast Asian learners to promote global competitiveness and develop 21st century skills of the students. But there are still a lot of students who are unreached, who are in the margins. And CIMEO Simulec, based in Indonesia, has developed this innovation which we call the Sierra. This is an innovation, a technology, a tool to provide educational resources for students in remote areas. And the device has been used widely in Indonesia and the Philippines. Furthermore, some of our centers, such as RedTrack, develop blended learning programs to assist English teachers to meet ICT competencies from early childhood up to K to 12. CIMEO centers are moving forward to develop digital innovation and technology because these are the drivers and enablers of digital economy in Southeast Asia. They have done processes for course designing through analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. There is also a course to develop the readiness for technology-driven programs, training subject matter experts, instructional designers, web developers, media editors, course administrators, online facilitators and tutors, online facilitators and technical support specialists. And CIMEO UNESCO, with the Commission on Higher Education Philippines, developed some open educational resources and publication, which was for helping teachers to understand open educational resources and how to make use of them in their teaching. Open educational resources production is a convergence of effort of CIMEO, CIMEO centers, Commission Higher Education, UNESCO headquarters, UPOU, with funding from the Chinese Weidong Cloud Education Group. Here is the chart showing open education and flexible learning programs with the platform that we use for online and flexible learning so that teachers can learn in different platforms and places. Now, most of the countries have adopted flexible learning. And flexible learning is the provision of a range of learning modalities or methods, giving learners greater choice of when, where, and how they learn. Moreover, flexible learning models should be used to adapt to the learning context and facilities that the students have, even from no tech to low tech and even to high tech. Another thing that is really very popular at this time is the learning management systems. Many ministries of education during this time of pandemic, they have developed learning management system that will contain all the learning resources that can be offered and provided educational capacity building development programs in a software that looks after administration, documentation, tracking, reporting, and delivery. Learning management system also identifies training and learning gaps, utilizing analytical data and reporting, and delivers appropriate content, whether videos, courses, and documents to achieve learning online. Learning management system, for sure, even during this time of pandemic, powers e-learning. And the LMS platform for us at Simeo is ready. Now, Simeo's SEP and ECCA stakeholders can help create content together and build the online learning community. Serving the region now, online or virtually, is really challenging. But at the helm of this challenge is the Simeo, which there's different centers. We have 26 centers. They offer online courses, virtual courses, open educational resources, and collectively, teachers from all over the region can benefit from this. Please feel free to visit our link and Simeo website for more open educational resources. SIMU courses are seen in our page, and there's also a free course on global digital literacy, which you can enroll and register. In Indonesia, we have Simeo Simulek, which has also developed the center's MOOCs program, which has nearly 29,000 users with 66 courses. I think you can also see courses for early childhood care and education and more than 1,000 digital contents. The completion rate for digital classes, although, is at least 75%, which is actually telling us of a higher success rate. There are so many things we should do to help early childhood care and education. For one, we have developed the ECCE competency standards for teachers. We have also developed all the policies to support ECCE. In fact, it is the #1 policy in the education agenda adopted by the ministers since 2015. We have lined up a lot of activities to strengthen capacity of early childhood care education providers. This is our goal and this is our aspiration. And we hope that we will continue to train teachers to be able to utilize distance learning, flexible learning modalities at this time of pandemic. Thank you very much for your attention. Be sure to subscribe to our social media channels for more information on capacity building programs from Simeo Secretariat and Simeo Centers. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ethel. We are delighted to have you here, of course, and it will be greatly appreciated if you will be willing to stay with us till the rest of this agenda to get us some questions. Before we proceed to the next speaker, any additional comment, Dr. Ethel, please?
Well, I think we have done a lot in terms of developing competency standards for early childhood care education. We have translated this into several languages in Southeast Asia. And if you're interested, you can download from our website. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, we are delighted to have you here. Thank you for your support to Southeast Asian universities through Simeo. UTP itself has been joining with CMU Secretariat through CTeacher and also CTFED a couple of years ago, and we have been running several programs under the CMU umbrella. I thank you once again very much. Now I would like to invite our speaker for the first materials. We have Dr. Meljo Apilado and also Professor Claudia Denis Berbadilo. Dr. Meljo is Head of Student Affairs and Services and also Program Coordinator for Online Learning from Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Professor Claudia as well is Head of Instructional Materials. She's focusing on guidance and counselor, coordinator for CPED, and also extension for social services clusters. Good afternoon, Doctor and Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to see you here, and we would like to present your presentation from here, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you. Teman-teman, silakan.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Universitas Tunas Pembangunan Surakarta, Indonesia, for organizing this international webinar on distance learning, technology, and digital media in early childhood education. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Yafi, the Head of International Office of UTP. It is an honor indeed to be sharing to fellow professional educators and practitioners the best practice of distance learning of our university, the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Philippines. Education globally is under threat because of COVID-19 causing global learning crisis. For many of our students are in school but are not 100% learning. Internet accessibility and parental involvement are some of the challenges all universities in the world are facing. DIMSU is one of the top 1,000 universities of the Philippines, created in January 15, 1981 by virtue of Presidential Decree 1778, catering to the aspirations of the people. The university has 3 campuses, namely the South La Union campus in Agao, La Union, Mid La Union campus in San Fernando City, La Union, and North La Union campus in Bacnotan, La Union, and an open university system situated at the heart of the city of San Fernando, La Union. DIMSU is ISO certified and has been accredited by the Bureau of Immigration to accept foreign students with AAFS number 06154. DIMSU embraces world-class standards with its vision of becoming a globally competitive university by continuously providing high-quality service in instruction, research, and extension, thereby living to the philosophy of developing total human development with appropriate competencies and a goal of transforming human resources into self-reliant citizens and responsible leaders. The Open University system of DIMSU has been delivering distance education to students anywhere in the world for 25 years. It offers baccalaureate, certificate, and graduate programs. OUS makes it possible for education to be accessible and flexible to diverse learners, designing and customizing learning needs, helping learners reach their goals while working, and providing innovative ways of learning through competent tutors. The COVID-19 pandemic created uncertainties, worries, and interruptions in the life aspects of students. It disrupted their normal routines, causing greater adjustments and emotional issues. The school, which is originally a place of building connections and relationships, a venue of expression, suddenly shifted into a modified structure. The learning platform changed from face-to-face learning to pure online education, adding more challenges in the life of students. The unpreparedness of learners in the new normal can widen the achievement gap. The current crisis may worsen mental health problems, considering that the school is the mental health scheme of students in need of care. Relative to this, the Open University system uninterruptedly brings services to clients and stakeholders. New learning platforms are adopted and created to address the needs of learners during this time of pandemic. The Open University is able to sustain the self-paced and online modes of learning. Facility-wise, classrooms are transformed with cubicles COVID-19 responsive. Safety and protection protocols are likewise strengthened. The Commission on Higher Education issued a memorandum order to all state universities and colleges on the implementation of flexible learning. This is to ensure that no student is left behind during the pandemic. What are the strategies of the Open University in the delivery of flexible learning? The Open University tutors have been capacitated with additional trainings in the delivery of flexible learning using hybrid approach, synchronous and asynchronous. The university adopted a free web service developed by Google and an easy tool to help tutors manage their classes effectively and efficiently. 100% of our tutors are using Google Classroom in their respective subjects. Students connect with their tutors and access their lessons from school, from office, from home, or on the go. Face-to-face become possible via Google Meet. Monitoring the progress of our students and checking their outputs are made easy. The Commission on Education provided funds for trainings of our faculty to widen their teaching competencies during these trying times. The Open University System faculty attended 8 trainings, namely Google Classroom, Content Development, Basic Occupation and First Aid, Mental Resilience, Emotional Intelligence and Leadership, Designing Thinking and Education, Human Resource Development, Workplace Diversity, Gender Diversity and Social Inclusion, and Virtual Customer Service. In the area of student services, research, and extension, I would like to call upon my colleague, Dr. Meljo Apilado, to share with you our innovations. Thank you and good day.
Thank you so much, Professor Claudia Barbadillo, for that short introduction, and the university for extending us the invitation. The role of student affairs and services is crucial in these trying times. The Commission on Higher Education imposes Memorandum Order Number 9, Series of 2013, on enhanced policies and guidelines for student affairs and services, with supplements on guidelines on the implementation of flexible delivery of student affairs and services during COVID-19 pandemic. This is to ensure that no student is left behind during this pandemic. This also complements the CHED guidelines on the implementation of flexible learning, wherein student support services are mentioned as one of the components of the learning continuity plan of the higher education institutions. The DIMSU Open University System responded and crafted a platform to deliver student affairs and services programs with a live program dubbed the eOpenU School via the official Facebook page of the DIMSU Open University System. The eOpenU School implemented weekly on its first semester. It centers on the 3-pronged student services. Number 1, the student welfare services. Number 2, the student development services. And number 3, the institutional student programs and services, with the purpose of safeguarding proper balance between rights of education or rights of educational institution and student rights, enhances the quality of student affairs and services in the university, promoting access to quality, relevant, efficient, and effective student affairs and services, ensure the welfare and holistic development of students, and warrant a system approach to student affairs and services. Along with its first semester of airing the Open School program, it aired 10 episodes in 2020, 2 for the Students' Welfare Services, 3 episodes for student development, and 5 episodes on the institutional student programs and services, with more than 10,000 views from our students, university personnel, and the whole school community. As to this date, the eOpenU already aired 4 episodes this year, which centers on the spiritual, health and wellness, students' rights and safety, which already has 2,000 views. The world today is passing through a very tough time due to the COVID-19 pandemic situations and lockdowns. Everyone, regardless of status or profession, is affected by this pandemic. The academe is one of the most affected sectors. To support flexible learning, the library must adopt and provide library services suitable for the new normal environment. One of the objectives of the library is to support the flexible learning methodologies in the new normal environment. That is why several platforms were developed. The online services of the library allow the students to make the library usable during the pandemic through the Ask DIMSU Online Reference Assistant or the Ask Dorla. Since face-to-face interaction is limited, she served as a library's frontliner to assist library users with their information needs. Dorla is designed to reach out, entertain, and answer all her clients' queries. The OPAC, or the Online Public Access Catalog, is used to search for titles of books and other materials that are in the university library through the web anytime and anywhere. The library is also equipped with electronic resources. These are collections of downloaded full-text electronic books and journals that supports the circular offerings of the university. This also includes digitized thesis and dissertation. DOUS developed a Google application called the eLibrary for DOUS students. It is a downloadable application exclusive for DOUS students where they can access anytime, anywhere with their learning package or their modules, since most of our learners are working and has no definite time to study. With the DOUS eLibrary, study anytime and anywhere is possible. The e-counseling service is strengthened with focus on health and wellness. A registered life coach manages the e-telemental health hotline intended to provide comfort, support, and intervention strategies in coping. OUS utilized a modular approach in teaching and learning. Shipment of modules became a challenge when a lot of countries worldwide suspended shipping. Our publication unit started digitizing all the modules. The management information system created an application called the eLibrary where all the digitized learning materials are uploaded. In this way, a student can access anytime and anywhere in the world. The extension services of OUS research-based Project Tanglao rehabilitation program continuously serves its clients from the Department of Justice Parole and Provision Administration amid pandemic. A 3-year program aimed to empowering parolees and pardonees with skills helping particularly drug personalities restore their relationships and redeem their lives. The face-to-face approach is converted into a mass media platform such as the live streaming and radio broadcasting. OUS launched a live stream radio program dubbed Kapihan sa DIMSU over 97.1 DZAG Radio Philippines and through the official Facebook page of DIMSU OUS and DZAG regularly. Public communication became the key to keeping DIMSU stakeholders informed, trained, and rehabilitated. The Kapihan sa DIMSU up to this date was able to run 30 episodes covering governance, security and safety, livelihood, health and wellness, and information technology with 53,000 views. The university's Edu Media Hub was funded by the Commission on Higher Education, bringing technology-based learning material and designing better communication to learners can make a difference in the teaching-learning process. Truly, the impact of this global learning crisis to students might be huge. The challenge now to all of educators is to create linkages, adopt to digital literacy, and learn from experiences and best practices of universities. In this way, we can assure our students from our commitment and dedication to continue teaching and affecting lives. Thank you everyone and maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meljo and Professor Claudia. Maraming salamat. That was incredible. Your program was incredible. Any comments before we proceed to another speaker, please?
Thank you so much for that feedback, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to back to you. We're going to go back to you for the question and answer. To calculate some questions from the chat box, and I hope that you can stay with us the rest of this agenda for a question and answer.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I would like to invite another university from the Philippines, from the NEUS. We have Dr. Lodivina Angeles. NEUS and UTP has been joining hands for several programs for the conference, for the webinars, and I'm really glad that you have been here, Professor Lodi. Good afternoon, Dr. Lodivina.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Please, your presentation, the screen is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And welcome to all the participants in today's webinar. So I hope everybody is okay. So at this point, allow me to share my screen. A blessed day, everyone. Thank you very much, Simeo, for giving me this rare opportunity to serve as one of the speakers of today's webinar. It is my honor to share some best practices on distance learning for early childhood education in the Philippines that we could apply during the pandemic. The best practices are panata or patnubay kay nanay at tatay. The second one is the radio-based instruction. The third one, the television-based instruction. And the fourth one is volunteerism. I will be explaining that later one by one. My aspiration is that this humble sharing of best practices could contribute to everyone in our quest to reinvent early childhood education in Southeast Asia and beyond in this time of the pandemic. Let me share to you a little about early childhood education. Early childhood education is your student's first connection between home and learning at school. It sets students on their path to being part of a learner community through the development of social, emotional skills, and foundational concepts. Early childhood education cultivates a partnership between school and family to help ensure the success of every student. That's why continuous support and growth through professional development for early childhood educators is so important. That is why we are all here in today's seminar, because we have to improve more our craft as early childhood educators, right? In the face of the current COVID-19 crisis that the country is facing right now, the Department of Education's topmost priority is to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of our learners, while making sure there is continuous of basic education. Thus, many schools have moved to distance learning because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools are actually taking many different approaches. Whatever the approach, distance learning can be a challenge. Teachers and students will need time and practice to get used to it. According to former DepEd Undersecretary Juan Miguel Luz, in this new normal, the drivers of distance education should not be the Department of Education, central office, or the regions. Rather, it should be the schools divisions and the schools themselves. We shall now proceed with the best practices of distance learning for early childhood education in the Philippines. As I mentioned earlier, the first one is the panata, or the patnubay kay nanay at kay tatay. This is actually the assistance given to parents. Okay? This is one of the best practices of Navota's Schools Division, as mentioned in the article published by former DepEd Undersecretary Juan Miguel Luz in Rappler, dated August 1, 2020. This is a virtual training using Messenger and Google Meet intended for parents. Considering that teachers and parents are partners in the children's education, and since in this time of the pandemic that face-to-face classes are disrupted, teachers have to find means in imparting the necessary skills that our children deserve to get. Thus, parent support is greatly needed. Teachers need to guide and train the parents in teaching the lessons to their children. Last October 2, we conducted a webinar entitled Parental Provision, Home Literacy in the New Normal. The target participants were the teachers and parents of kinder and elementary pupils. The following topics were discussed in the said webinar. Home, the Genesis of Metamorphosis by Dr. Donna D. de Guzman. Psychological First Aid in the Home by Dr. Gemma D.C. Santos. Home, a Seminary of Language Development by yours truly. And the last one is Mechanical and Aesthetic Stance of Beginning Reading Filipino by Professor Reynaldo J. Illumi. Phonological awareness is the first topic discussed to parents by one of our instructors here at NST College of Education in the person of Professor Reynaldo Illumi. His discussion actually was focused on the teaching of Marunko approach, wherein he demonstrated how it is being taught to children. The Marunko approach is taught in the Filipino language. Now, as you can see here, in phonics, we have the oral and the visual, in which the oral starts from the phonemes to onset and rhyme, breaking syllables into rhyming words, into words and sentences. Whereas in visual, we have the letter shapes, concepts of print, and then the sight words. So as you can see here, we have the letter sounds, the words into sentences. Now, important note, teaching beginning reading should start from his or her first language. That is actually the L1. Why? Since the child has already acquired oral fluency, proficiency, and competence of his or her first language, it will be easier for the child learning to read. Okay, now here is the Marunko technique. What is it all about? There are actually 20 phonemic lessons in the Marunko approach. Okay? Lesson 1, we have Lesson 2, Lesson 3, A. Lesson 4, E. Lesson 5, O. Lesson 6, it is voiceless actually. It is P. Lesson 7 is K. Lesson 8, T. Lesson 9, L. Lesson 10, R. Lesson 11, D. Lesson 12, U. Lesson 13, N. Lesson 14, B. Lesson 15, G. Lesson 16, E. lesson 17, whoop, lesson 18, lesson 19, lesson 20 is yi. Okay? To further help the parents teach their children at home, a series of training is given to parents as part of the Padata activities. Okay, at this point, I will try to demonstrate to you now a sample strategy on how the parents were taught. I just want to remind all our participants that if you are a kinder or elementary teacher, versatility is the name of the game. Why? Because we have to do things like acting, singing, or dancing. You have to sing even though you are not a dancer. You have to sing even though you are not a singer. You have to dance even though you are not a dancer. So this one is to the tune of Old MacDonald. I know everyone is familiar with this song. If you know the tune, you may sing with me later. Okay, but I am not actually a singer, but I will try to sing this for you. Okay. Now you can see here we have the onset and rhyme wherein the word is pet, okay? Wherein p is the onset and et is the rhyme. Now we can teach this to kids through a song that is too familiar with them. Okay, ready? You may join me if you want to. Old MacDonald had the box, E-I-E-I-O, and in the box he had a pet, E-I-E-I-O, with a pet here and a pet there. Here a pet, there a pet, everywhere a pet. Old MacDonald had the box, E-I-E-I-O. Okay. So in that way, perhaps our children could imitate the way we sing it. Okay? This song can be also taught to parents so that their children will be able to imitate the correct sounds of the alphabet. This is also one way of providing phonemic awareness training to parents. Okay. Aside from the webinar, the co-ed teachers in coordination with the dean and the head of extension program distributed some instructional materials to our adapted school in DepEd to assist parents in teaching their children. The author of these books is also from the College of Education in the person of Sir Reynaldo Ilumin. The College of Education faculty members have also produced instructional materials in other learning disciplines other than English and Filipino. These are distributed to the pupils of Cabot Elementary School, one of our adapted schools. Okay, another best practice in the Philippines is the radio-based instruction. Okay, this is also one of the practices in Comillas Elementary School, La Paz South District Division of Tarlac Province, and in most of the elementary schools in the Department of Education. How radio is used in teaching and learning process? It helps in inculcating values. It helps in improving creativity and imagination among our kids. The pupils listen to the teachers and they supplement the learning by going through books. Why use radio-based instruction? Okay, the first reason is it requires low technical support. Another, it can reach large population to address equity and access issues. It may be implemented with or without textbooks and other resources. It can lead to improvement of basic skills. And materials can be archived for easy access and future use and improvement. As you see in the pictures, the children are listening to the radio as the teacher teaches. This is done to ensure that the pupils can join and listen well through their parents' guidance, since it does not require strong internet connectivity. They are actually Ma'am Cheryl F. Santiago's pupils, a kinder teacher from Comillas Elementary School, La Paz South District, Division of Tarlac Province. Another best practice here in the Philippines is the television-based instruction. What is it all about? In the speech of Senator Win Gatchalian last October 2020, he emphasized that learning through television-based instruction is a big help in teaching more difficult and complicated subjects. Senator Gatchalian added that television-based instruction should leverage teaching difficult lessons, noting that television has a wider reach in the country compared to the internet. To roll out the use of television-based instruction, the Department of Education launched DepEd TV, which airs K-12 subjects from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday to Saturday. The lessons are being aired on state-run Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation, or IBC 13, People's Television Network, PTB4, and other channels that partnered with DepEd. In the article written by Ma'am Yen Cantiga on September 9, 2020 in My Pope, she mentioned that DepEd TV is a program that converts self-learning modules into video lessons. It features teacher broadcasters who underwent training on how to effectively deliver lessons via pre-recorded videos. Ma'am Pamela Amor Villanueva is one of DepEd TV's broadcasters. As cited by Ma'am Yen Cantiga, Ma'am Pamela, or Teacher Pam, admitted that she underwent rigid training and highly rigorous script writing. She further mentioned that as DepEd TV's broadcaster, she must adhere to the curriculum and implementation division requirements and ensure that the programs are educational and engaging. The initiative is also backed by the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Secretary Gregorio Honasan II, who instructed NTC to mandate broadcast stations, channels, and cable TV providers to allocate broadcast hours and the use of equipment and resources to DepEd free of charge. To continuously help the parents guide and assist their children on the lessons, some teachers from the Department of Education regularly upload the video lessons so that parents and pupils can follow the lessons well. The video is courtesy of one of my friends in the person of Ma'am Joyce Anambio. She is a kinder teacher from one of the schools in the division of Nueva Ecija. Well, actually, the radio-based and TV-based instruction were the topics discussed in the webinar by two of our co-ed instructors, namely Sir Alfredo M. Esteban Jr. and Ma'am Pauline Joy R. Helacio. Okay, the last one that I will be sharing with you this afternoon is about voluntarism. As defined in the dictionary, it is the principle of relying on voluntary action, used especially with reference to the involvement of voluntary organizations in social welfare. As cited by former DepEd Undersecretary Juan Miguel Luz in his article published in Rappler, there are actually three modes of voluntarism, and these were: one is the Learning Resource Mover, or the LR Mover. The volunteer riders or bicycling group are those who are willing to help deliver learning resources to homes or community kiosks of learners. In the article published by Ma'am Lailani Adriano, dated August 18, 2020, in Philippine News Agency, that in Luwag City, various schools gear up for distance learning under the new normal. We have also that, as you can see in the slide, some motorcycle riders have signified their intent to distribute learners' modules for free. As stated further, in a memorandum of agreement signed between the Department of Education, Lawag City, and the Motorcycle Philippines Federation 128 Incorporated, both parties agreed that the modules developed by teachers will be distributed for free by the riders to the village halls of Lawag and other municipalities. The village officials will then give out the modules to the learners' home. The learners will bring the modules to the barangay halls, which will be carried back by the riders to school. The distribution and retrieval of learning module is done weekly. Under volunteerism, we also have the community-based tutorial. What does it mean? Volunteers who will be tutoring learners within his or her community. This is actually a picture shared by Ma'am Manny Serapio in his article published in Synergia Foundation dated October 13, 2020. In the article of Sir Manny Serapio, he mentioned that as a practice in Blue Rizal, Halang Elementary School, education major students and even students or graduates of other courses from higher education institutions shall be invited as community tutors who will be provided on CPD accredited training on beginning reading, remedial reading, and competency-based teaching and learning, which can gain merit in their application to teaching positions in DepEd Rizal. Certificates for their accomplishments as certified community-based tutors, which can be considered as outstanding accomplishments. Now, under volunteerism, we also have the learning resources pasabay or kiosks, sari-sari store and or landmarks honor in far-flung communities to serve as pick-up centers for learning resources. In Blue Rizal Halang Elementary School, as shared by Sir Manny Serapio, they have actually volunteer sari-sari store or any other known community centers owners in communities to serve as LR kiosks for distribution and retrieval of LRs, as well as portfolios of learners. For sari-sari stores in far-flung communities, they will be requested to have the LRs be given to them when they are in the town proper to buy their merchandise. Here at NSC College of Education, the teachers also volunteered themselves in the distribution of the modules. Some teachers even went to the learners' respective homes, and some gave the modules to the municipal mayors. This is done to ensure that the learners will get a copy of their module to facilitate the teaching and learning process. So at this point in time, let us watch a short video of the learning resource pasabay activities of the faculty of the College of Education.
There comes a time when we hit a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people in the truth, you know, love is so. We are the ones, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. Well, set up your heart, their cries for help will not be in vain. We can't let them suffer. No, we cannot turn away. Right now, they need a helping hand. No someone lie. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So
With that, I would like to end my talk. I hope I was able to share with you our best practices in distance learning for early childhood education in the Philippines. Thank you very much, and once again, good afternoon.
Yes, I think we have some error with our connection here, but I think I would like to admit that you are really cheerful today with some songs that you presented. So for the information for the audiences that Professor Lodi is from Department of Education, focusing on early childhood education. So that's why she's very cheerful. And I think we can sing along together after that. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much once
Thank you
again,
very much, sir.
Dr. Lodi. And I would like to invite, last but not least, I would like to invite the next speaker. He's from Simeo CECCEP, Pak Futi. Good afternoon, Pak Futi. I would like to also give you notification that once again, I would like to give you notification that your question, you can, you can write your presentation. You can write your, question on the chat box. And I think we can have those kind of questions on the Q&A sessions. Pak Putih, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please, your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much to the University of Tunas Pembangunan, and thank you for the rector of the university and allow me to presentation this my PowerPoint present using digital media to teach children in distance learning. Sorry. We see that in the world, in the global, have the world commitment to ECCE, and the conventions on the right of the children said that in Article 3, paragraph 2, that state party undertake to ensure children such protection and care as the necessary for his or her well-being. This is United Nations world bodies. And the second one is from SDG number 4, quality of education, goal number 0.2. By 2010, every state as the member of United Nations ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early education development, care and pre-primary education so that they are ready for pre-primary education. This commitment of a world body organization. And then for the CMO, we have 7 priority area. That priority number 1, early childhood care and education. So we see the commitment from the world that support early childhood care and education. World disruption before the pandemic 2020, we from the education stakeholders should be train the teacher how to 21st century skill that foresee that the collaborative communication, creative and critical thinking. And also disruption about evolution industrial number 4. And then pandemic, COVID-19 comes from March 2020 until now. Some school is not open yet. Pandemics, COVID-19 bring a change of the world learning, leading to learning from home. You know, so some teacher is not prepared, is not ready yet to use the learning from home. Implementation of education become distant learnings. Instructional media and tool that we can use. I see the second presenter. It's about instructional in Philippines by radio, by TV. But in Indonesia, we have the Nation Media have the programs to teach students in the remote area and also by the radio. This is mostly in Southeast Asia like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar is supported by the government. But for our teacher and parents, we use smartphone, laptop and iPad. This is the most popular equipment that supports ECCE learning from home. And then we have also computer assisted instruction, web-based course. This one, I think some school are prepare for the teacher teaching from their school. And then we have also instructional kit, but this one we can develop by the teacher and put it in the virtual platform and parent and can be download and teach printed material. You see, it's better to use this one because some teacher go to this, the student print the printed material and they teach there. And also now audio video. This one might be just some teacher, not most of the teacher upload to the YouTube their teaching material. Digital technology in early childhood play a crucial role in early childhood training. And currently, sorry. Early childhood, there are different perceptions regarding the advantage and disadvantage because the children now are much use the smartphone for playing games. This is disadvantage, but should be what we say arranged and managed by their parents. The digital or technology for children, especially during their early childhood of development. The concept of the ICT include the computer, software, and hardware, digital camera, video camera, the internet. The internet also important in Indonesia, not only Indonesia, maybe in Southeast Asia, some area is not strong in internet. So this is the problems for the student to reach communication with the teacher. Telecommunication tool, programmable toys that can be teach the student, and many other devices and resources. A student, teacher should be looking that use the creative looking for the material for teaching the student suited with the national or school curriculum. There are two important stakeholders in early childhood development is the teacher and parents. How to oppose opinion regarding to use digital technology in education. Benefit of using technology devices. Most of ECCE teacher using the technology devices such as smartphone, laptop, tablet, interactive whiteboards, and smartboard. But I think interactive whiteboard and smartboard maybe in Europe, in USA that usually one because cost expensive and the bandwidth also high. So the good one is smartphone, but smartphone also some family have 4 children and they have only one smartphone. This is the problem also. They should share and manage with the smartphone to 4 children to learn from home. All this using of the technology devices to increase to and engage early childhood student in learning. But please keep in mind the American Academics of Pediatrics recommended avoid the skin of children younger than 11 to 20 months, 24 months, that means below 2 years, except when they video chat with the family. And also the AAP also recommended limited screen of use for the preschool children, 8 to 5, just only 1 hour a day of high quality programming. Thus, modify activity when using ICT media with children, very recommended. So, children only 1 hour a day that use and see the screen. So the teacher should be modify your activity, break it down in your conversation, communication with the student and give their homework to their parent. Benefit of using technology devices, literature suggests that at least 3 reasons by using ICT matter in early childhood education. One is ICT already have an effect on the people and environment surround young children learning. So ICT everywhere, even Indonesia, the population is 207 million, but the use of the handphone more than that number. This technology offered the new opportunity to strengthen many aspects of early childhood education practice. Number 3 is there are support and interest across the whole education sector for the department and integration of ICT into education policy, curriculum, and practice by the government. However, there is clear consensus in the literature that the introduction of the ICT in the early childhood should be grounded in the clear understanding and the proposed practice and social context of early childhood education. This is a message from the Ministry of Education, New Zealand. The communication with the students, we have 2 types of communication, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous learning, that means the real time with the student. It could be in the teacher and the student in same place. But also teacher and student in different place. So we use WhatsApp, we use Zoom, we use WebEx, we use we say application that can be communicate real time with the student and parents. Remember that the early childhood education, the students should be always accompanied by their parents. This is asynchronous learning, this delay and the delay, and then teacher and student in the different place. This is suited with during pandemic era, use the asynchronous learning. Media learning for ECCE, media digital that interpersonal communication, media use email, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram or Telegrams, but mostly in email, not so much for the ECCE. We use in Cambodia, I don't know, in other country, we use also Facebook for teaching and learning because they look for the, what we say, friendly using. And interactive game media, the teacher should be search in Play Store. We have entertainment, edu entertainments. Many applications can be meet your your school curriculum. Search engine media, we have Chrome, Mozilla, Bing, and YouTube's media for learning. And then participatory media, we have Zoom, Classroom, and WebEx. But usually we use Zoom is the school provided facility, and also using Google Map, Google Classroom. The function of media for ECCE, the first one is religious and moral values to teach how to what we say, respect to the religious and the moral values. Second one, a physical motor, this is the children development. Cognitive of the children, language of the children, ECCE student, and social emotional, and art also. This is the function of media for ECCE. Digital media as a tool, delivery system and curriculum should be designed, the curriculum component should be designed with the according to the online learning and according to the interactive between the teacher and the students. And distance learning for ECCE choose media, the area of condition. You see, some area cannot reach with the mobile connection. Facility, what do you want to prefer? You use smartphone, smart board, or others. Agreement should be agreement from the school, teacher, and parents to do the online learning. You do first the meeting between school and the parent by the Zoom meeting or some else to make agreements on the media and other applications should be used. User-friendly, like I say, Facebook, maybe every people have Facebook and can use it well. And other application based on agreements. Attractive, the content should be attractive to the designs because you know online always make boring. If you do it longer times, it's boring to the students, even to the parents. Make it easy for student implementation, active student center, multimedia multi-strategy, increase interest in learning. And then evaluation should be designed interesting, facilitate students. You can also make the media converted to the digital, but based on the theory of the media, the nature of educational play in the space can develop region, moral, physics, cognitive, language, social emotion, like this toy or block aim to stimulate kids' ability to solve the problems, use imagination, develop mathematical logic skill, intrapersonal, interpersonal, linguistic, and sharp such as the unit block, hollow block, Lego, stacking. Then you can make this all video can upload. This easy way can upload to the YouTube, or you can ask the other teachers to what we say. What do you have for teaching your student? You can also get link from your friend as a teacher if they develop already. And the second one type of the balsa, the orange objects, this one's or rearrange piece of the picture, orange piece of the objects based on the side color arm to stimulate and develop visual spatial, kinesthetic, interpersonal, mathematic, logic skill. This one also good. And media that like sewing type, roncher, this is Javanese. Maybe the student from Indonesia know this one, roncher and saving. And we have this one have to strengthen eye-hand coordination and develop spatial visual, mathematic logic. But I think to sewing is a very dangerous for the children. Maybe you can tie the shoe that can be more safe to the students. And then sewing board, stepper shoe, short, and so on. Number 4 type of writing. You see in the picture, the student writing and on the boards, but you can do with some video for the student, put it as digital. The type of writing image and stimulate linguistic, visual factor, intrapersonal skill, education, game, tool can take the form of poster, story book, picture book, fairly tile sheet, photo, letter, card, number, writings, and drawing. Educational game material can be papers, thing, cardboard, boxes, use calendar, cloth, cloth, plastic, tin from foam, and the other. Number 5 is the artificial objects develop all ability that children can already have, ability in intelligence of children in the form such as a sculptor, mock-up, doll, artificial subjects, tool, household, carpentry tool, plantation tool, salon tool, fruit, vegetable, but all around us we can use as the media for learning for the ECCE student. You just develop to the digital, upload to the YouTube. In general, the education game tool market that be easy found from plastic, wooden, and cloth. Number 6 is the type of tangible object, namely material that's around us, and to develop all ability of the children as ability intelligent, for example, animal, plant, leaf, seed, fruit, stem, flower, stone, sand, water, shell, kitchen, and kitchen ingredient, household appliances, clothing, electronic, musical instrument, and so on. So STEM now we train the teacher how to use dialogue reading and integrate STEM into the curriculum. So from this, what we say like leaf, seed, fruit, stem, flower, stone, sand, it's include in the STEM education. So because of the student, early childhood students is playing based approach learning. We cannot force them to learn longer, but play and learn. Thank you very much for your attention. I give back to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Pak Putih. That was very awesome. Thank you for sharing with us. And I think we have some questions on the chat box. I think, please let me see. Questions from, I think, Pak Sabto Irawan. I think this question is for Professor Claudia, because she's from counseling. Professor Claudia, are you still with us?
Of the DIMSU Open University system. Let me just emphasize that the Open University has been operating under 3 modalities of learning. So we have the group-based. This is prior to the pandemic. So the group phase wherein students are scheduled to come here to learn. So that is on site. They have their classmates. Another modality is we have the self-paced, wherein it's a one-on-one learning with between the tutor and the student. And then another one is the online mode of learning, wherein our students come from different parts of the Philippines and abroad, other countries. So the e-counseling is not anymore new to us. It has been practiced already even before pandemic. So our students are encouraged to get in touch with the guidance counselor, and fortunately, I am the guidance counselor. I'm a registered guidance counselor and a registered psychometrician. So before we start with the school year or the semestral scheduling, we conduct orientation program with our students, and one of the orientation has something to do with guidance services. There, we advise our students to avail of this service so that when it comes to the e-counseling now, during this time of pandemic, again, they are reminded of this service. So how exactly do we do it? No? Our students have already their group chat, group account, where I'm also a member of that group chat. So it's very easy for me to monitor their wellness since we have this group chat already. And from there, I can sense if there are some issues and concerns. And right away, I message them, and they get in touch with me so that if there's really an identified issue or concern, I schedule them, and then I give them an informed consent form. So this is very important since here in the Philippines, we have this data privacy law, and another one is I'm bounded with the law of confidentiality in terms of counseling. So once the informed consent form has been filled out by the student, And there is already a structuring between me and the counseling. Then the counseling session will start already. So if you may ask if I am recording the session or not, I avoid recording it since we have also some issues when it comes to the technical side. Like in the case of, for example, if we are to use Zoom or Google Meet, so we have not checked yet the confidentiality of information. So that I just record it, document it manually, the counseling session. So our students are encouraged to email me, use any platforms that is very easy on their part, like text messaging, chat, email, and even video conferencing if possible only and if necessary. Okay?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Claudia.
I hope I answered the query of one of our participants, Mr. Yaffe.
Sure, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, my question coming from the chat box, I addressed this question, I think, to Dr. Lodi about I think it is about the quality assurance, about the process of the distance learning itself. Dr. Lodi, how do we make sure that the strategies are effective? You may present your data about the effectiveness of this distance learning. What do you think about this?
Thank you very much, sir. And since we are experiencing the crisis, actually, from the very beginning, teachers have thought of different modalities in which we could deliver quality education to our students, since face-to-face class is disrupted and we are not allowed to handle the face-to-face class with our kids. So we thought of modalities that we think could be effective. Now, if we are trying to ask about the effectivity, well, this is the first time that we just experienced the pandemic, right? Now, what the teachers are doing is they regularly monitor the students because they distribute the modules, and upon distribution and retrieval of the modules, they even conducted interview with the parents, okay? So that they will be able to know if the students are really learning, okay? That is why in my slide that I have presented earlier about the Panata, it is actually the assistance given to parents by the teachers, because we know the fact also the predicament of some of our parents that they find difficulty in teaching their kids, okay? So that is why the best thing that we could do is to give assistance to parents on how they can also tutor their kids at home, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Another question for Pak Putih, I think. This is actually about infrastructure, Pak Putih. Your question is on the chat box. This one is your question. I think we don't only talk about Indonesian infrastructure based on your experience joining with SIMIO ECCEP, which covering all the Southeast Asian, that about what is exactly what should government and teacher and school should prepare for receiving the learning goals. I think it deals with the infrastructure in Southeast Asia.
Of course, in 11, what we say in South SIMIO region, there are 11 countries. So the policy for the education is different. In Singapore, they provide the iPad to all the students, so they can use that one. But for Indonesia, the parents should be buy itself, like smartphone, looking for the cheap ones. So it's different from one country. In Cambodia, provide the online learning by radio, television, and group of volunteers go to the school, go to the community to teach the students. So this is different of the assistant to the student, but more better for the policy of the each country should be supported like Singapore, the best one. The connection everywhere, mobile connection. This one is the Ministry of Communication should respond for this to do the connection everywhere. That's one most policy, government policy to support education. That mean, yes, I think like that.
Pak Putih. I think we have another question. Someone is raising hand here, but unfortunately I cannot read the name. I think she or he is from Thailand. You can unmute yourself, please, if you have a question. Please, sir or madam from the Thailand. Unfortunately, I cannot read the letter there because that is in Thai language. Yes, please. Please, sir, madam, your question? All right, I think we have, while we are waiting for her to raise her question, I think, all right, so, all right, let's, please, because you raised your hand. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another question. Pak Putih, you're from the Simeo CECCEP, then I think there have been so many institutions here coming from Southeast Asia. Please let us know how to get connected with your institution, how to have cooperation and collaboration with your institution. Please, Pak Putih.
Okay, we are from Simeo CSEP. Simeo is Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization. This CECEP, usually CECEP. CSEP or CECEP is up to the who want to say. CSEP is a Center for Early Childhood Education and Parenting, Education, Care and Parenting. And we have the governing board member from 11 countries, including also Indonesia. Pak Hasbi Muhammad is our governing board. He is the director of the Directorate PAUD. And through the governing board, we can connect to the other countries. Simeo CECEP also make a working paper to the governing board to approve about the Southeast Asian ACCE and Parenting Association. So we will do this one. And we get also the mandate, the request from DICTI to do the sending of the 100 students to Southeast Asia for supporting Kampus Merdeka and Belajar Merdeka.
All right, thank you very much, Pak Putih. The same question is actually for Dr. Claudia, Dr. Miljo, and also Dr. Lodi. And I think I give you Dr. Lodi first, how to get connected with your university for some cooperation and collaboration. I think there have been so many institutions coming from Southeast Asia. Dr. Lodi, please.
Yes, sir. Actually, if I'm very glad to hear that, sir. Definitely, the first thing that we have to do is to have the MOA, or so that we could have the constant communication, sir, so that our best practices could also be shared to another country that whose participants now are interested with the one that I shared with you, and that I am glad also that if there are participants that will be willing to partner with us, so that we could have the exchange of ideas, the exchange of practices, so that we could give the best that we could give to our students, especially nowadays that we are experiencing the pandemic, and most especially as regards early childhood education, because we know that early childhood years are the formative years. This is the foundation, this is the most crucial. And whatever we give to them, definitely they will be able to absorb it, because I believe, although it's the saying that it is easier to build a child than to repair an adult. So if there will be an opportunity for us to share with us, definitely it would be a pleasure for us to be sharing with you our best practices. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Dr. Meljo and Dr. Claudia, how to get connected with your university for some collaboration and cooperation, please. Dr. Meljo and Dr. Claudia.
Our university, we have our own office of internationalization. So that office of internationalization is situated also in our unit in the Open University system. By there, we have ability and we can actually link with other universities and private entities around, not only within Philippines, but also overseas. This is the reason also why we are actually engaged in this particular session today. And Ma'am Plajo, do you have something to tell? Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see some many questions I think coming up from the chat box, but unfortunately we have running out of time. And I thank you very much. I'm sorry that I cannot gather all of your questions to be answered by the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to distribute the link for the attendance to get a certificate, to give you a certificate. And I think we have come to a close. On behalf of UTP Surakarta, I would like to express my deepest gratitude for your attendance. Professor Tresna, Dr. Ethel, Dr. Meljo, Dr. Claudia, Pak Putih, and also Dr. Lodi, thank you in advance for your attendance. It means a lot to all of us. And I will see you in the future webinars. Thank you once again. Good afternoon or good evening, depending whenever you are. Thank you.
Universitas Tunas Pembangunan atau sering disebut UTP merupakan salah satu perguruan tinggi swasta favorit di wilayah Jawa Tengah, khususnya di Surakarta. Kampus yang didirikan oleh ex-tentara pelajar Brigadir 17 pada tanggal 17 Juli tahun 1980 ini beralamat di Jalan Balai Kambang Lor nomor 1 Surakarta. Untuk mewujudkan visi menjadi universitas riset dan entrepreneurial yang unggul dijiwai patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian, Universitas Tunas Pembangunan atau UTP memiliki beberapa misi, di antaranya mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan pendidikan unggul untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang memiliki karakter patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian, mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan penelitian yang unggul berorientasi pada inovasi, sumber daya lokal dan daya saing, mengembangkan dan menyelenggarakan pengabdian kepada masyarakat untuk berpartisipasi dalam memecahkan permasalahan bangsa, membangun kelembagaan UTP yang kuat, kredibel, dan akuntabel.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Saya Tresna Triana Sumardi, Rektor Universitas Tunas Pembangunan Surakarta. Secara alamiah, Universitas Tunas Pembangunan dengan nilai-nilai triciri tadi berkembang menjadi kampus juara. Para mahasiswa memenangkan event-event kejuaraan kemahasiswaan baik nasional maupun internasional. Atas dasar itu pula, pembangunan karakter di UTP adalah dengan mendorong mahasiswa aktif mengikuti kompetisi, olahraga, dan non-olahraga. Hampir setiap bulan berita mahasiswa UTP menjadi juara dalam berbagai event olahraga, dalam media massa dan elektronik, juga non-olahraga seperti mahasiswa Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis menjadi juara pertama dalam kebijakan publik Ombudsman Republik Indonesia. Fakultas Teknik menjadi juara dalam rekayasa beton. UTP menapaki masa depan. Di tahun 2022 kita menargetkan menjadi 6 fakultas, 24 prodi, 5.000 mahasiswa, dan 250 dosen. Universitas Tunas Pembangunan berusaha sekuat tenaga menjadi universitas swasta yang unggul di Indonesia dan di antara negara-negara ASEAN.
Universitas Tunas Pembangunan memiliki 4 fakultas, terdiri dari 10 program studi S1 serta 1 program pasca sarjana S2. Ke-10 prodi tersebut adalah prodi arsitektur dan prodi teknik sipil di Fakultas Teknik, prodi agroteknologi dan agribisnis di Fakultas Pertanian, prodi manajemen dan akuntansi di Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis, serta prodi bimbingan konseling, pendidikan kepelatihan olahraga, pendidikan guru sekolah dasar, dan pendidikan jasmani, kesehatan, dan rekreasi di Fakultas KIP. Sedangkan untuk prodi pendidikan olahraga berada di program pasca sarjana S2. Keseluruhan prodi yang ada di UTP Surakarta telah terakreditasi B dari BAN PT. Berbagai macam prestasi dan keunggulan telah diraih oleh universitas ini di berbagai bidang. Ini dibuktikan dalam 3 tahun terakhir, mahasiswa UTP telah mendapatkan 100 penghargaan kompetisi berbagai bidang di tingkat nasional dan internasional. UTP juga memiliki program unggulan di masing-masing fakultas, di antaranya prestasi atlet nasional dan internasional, serta modifikasi olahraga dan olahraga rekreasi atau tourism sport di Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan. Pertanian organik, bisnis pertanian organik dan agrowisata di Fakultas Pertanian, arsitektur kawasan pariwisata dan rancang bangun kawasan pariwisata di Fakultas Teknik, serta ekonomi kewirausahaan di Fakultas Ekonomi. Dalam upaya pengembangan pendidikan ke level internasional, UTP mengadakan program Student Exchange antar negara. Saat ini, UTP telah mengirim dan menerima mahasiswa dari Thailand dan Filipina. UTP juga mengembangkan unit bisnis dalam menanggapi perkembangan industri, di antaranya dengan merealisasikan adanya teaching industri seperti kolam keceh, urban farming jeruk sawit, dan UTP mineral. Produk UTP mineral merupakan produk air minum mineral yang telah diproduksi dan dikembangkan oleh UTP sendiri. Dengan fasilitas belajar mengajar yang memadai, program kemahasiswaan yang intensif dan didukung dengan teknologi informasi yang unggul, serta ditunjang dengan pengajar yang berkompeten di bidangnya. Hingga UTP berencana membangun gelanggang olahraga dan seni plesungan Gondang Rejo Karanganyar. Universitas Tunas Pembangunan selalu memberikan yang terbaik untuk mahasiswanya. menghasilkan lulusan yang berkualitas. Seluruh sivitas akademis berkomitmen untuk mengembangkan Universitas Tunas Pembangunan menjadi unggul dengan peningkatan mutu akademik dan non-akademik secara berencana dan berkelanjutan untuk menghasilkan lulusan berkarakter patriotisme, kepeloporan, dan kemandirian.